Hello everybody and welcome back to Culz Book Reviews. Today we're checking out early 20th century UFOs, American Sightings 1900 through 1919 by Torres and John LeMay. Now if you're like me, this cover grabbed your attention right off the bat because it not only shows the Titanic, but it also shows UFOs. And right off the bat that is an intriguing concept because you don't know what this is about to tell you. We've previously done fictional stories like Deck Z, where it showed like a zombie outbreak on the Titanic, but this is portrayed as nonfiction and true stories. So this really made me super intrigued. My brother Colin, my uncle Mark, and myself were all really interested in the Titanic story growing up and read everything Titanic, watched everything Titanic. So for me, when I saw this in the bookstore in Roswell, I was like, I gotta pick that up because I gotta know what this is gonna tell me. And so I did. And then later on, we actually met John LeMay at the Roswell UFO Festival. And so if you've kept up with the Culz Book Reviews series, you've actually seen us talk about another of his books about the movie history of King Kong, link above. So let's delve more into the book. Right here on the cover, obviously you got the title of the book, Early 20th Century UFOs, American Sightings 1900 through 1919. And then down below, Torres and John LeMay. And then very classic depiction of the Titanic sinking with that stern above the waves. Obviously that iceberg sitting in the background and these lifeboats watching helplessly as this mighty ocean liner slips beneath the waves. Now what may be different, obvious to a lot of people, is 1, 2, 3 UFOs. And this is just like making your mind think, what is the story that we're going to read? So let's look into that in a little bit, but let's continue our look at the outside of the book. You got the author's names and then just the early 20th century UFOs, book 1. And on the back we got the cover picture of the Titanic, early 20th century UFOs, and then just a brief description of what it's about. And here's this ISBN if you guys need that. So this book clocks in at 210 pages. And it's broken up into different stories or different sightings in this case. And throughout it, as you're seeing right here, you see different pictures and or drawings related to the sighting or different events. Something else that's really cool is there's a lot of actual news articles, as you see here. And that really helps bring the historical portion of this story to life. Because you're like, whoa, there's a lot of actual press related to these, especially in a time where there wasn't really any airplanes or no airplanes at all flying around. Don't know about you guys, but there's a famous roadside attraction called The Thing, and that's what that brings to mind. Here you got a business card that I used as a bookmark, but it's for Hangar 209 where we got this book. So we'll talk a couple stories. The first off, obviously, we have to talk about Nikola Tesla. Nikola is somebody that we've covered previously on the channel, and in fact, let me flip to it real quick. We've actually done an abandoned Colorado episode on the old Nikola Tesla laboratory in Colorado Springs, where we try to determine the exact location of the old lab. It was torn down and now it's a residential neighborhood, so it is kind of hard to find, but using this building in the background, we were able to find it, link above. So you may be asking, did Nikola Tesla see UFOs? And the answer is no. But if you know anything about Tesla and his work, you probably remember a small bit where he said he was receiving radio waves from Mars or Venus. And, some people did attribute this to Marconi and his new signal that he was producing. But Tesla was really adamant it was not of this Earth. Super fascinating because Tesla was super smart and a lot of people think ahead of his time. And for him to think it wasn't of this Earth, it is intriguing to me. Now, if it wasn't Marconi, could have just been, different sounds from Mars as far as with the crust moving or something like that. It's possible. But is it possible that perhaps it was aliens? Being that we are close to Halloween, what would we be without talking about All Hallows Eve airship encounter? Which we jump to this awesome depiction here of like a dirigible with a beam of light coming out from it. Which if you think about the small Massachusetts town, something like that flying above would be terrifying. Now that's not what they're saying it is, but that's just a brief description of something of the time And I think that's some cool kind of going throughout this is the UFOs always kind of seem of the time. Sometimes they're described as boxcars, other times dirigibles, then weird airplanes, and now flying saucers. So either the aliens are also moving on a timeline like us where they're, just their technology is evolving, and or maybe they're just using technology that resembles ours to make it less shocking when something not of this earth talks to us. And then someone else we've talked about a lot on the channel is Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Obviously, a lot of that is due to our Culz reviews of Project Blue Book, this series, which is really cool. You guys should definitely check it out. But also because obviously he's a well-known UFO researcher that didn't start out that way. He was brought into Project Blue Book to actually debunk UFOs and then ended up thinking they could be real and perhaps were real. He also helped on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And some other big names, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I honestly was like, is Houdini going to be in here? Because there's so many people or topics we've covered before. I almost expected Houdini because Houdini and Doyle have a sordid background, we'll say. Obviously with Doyle's wife claiming to be a medium and then Houdini just getting enraged by that. But I know everyone is here to know about that UFOs over the Titanic one. Now, this does happen after the ship has sunk, and there's quite a few witnesses, one in particular that they follow, where they said as they were in the lifeboats waiting to get rescued, they saw lights that were like stars, but almost too close on the horizon and dancing, not just sitting still or moving like all the other stars, but almost dancing in the sky. And so nothing fantastical like the UFOs sunk the Titanic or anything like that, but just pretty ordinary unidentified lights flying around over the Atlantic. And so overall, what did I think of this book? So I really enjoyed this book. While it does cover, the paranormal and UFOs and even perhaps some cryptids in some of the chapters, it's not too fantastical and it always seems pretty grounded. Whether it be due to the, numerous news articles that they have, pictures, and or just saying, hey, we understand that we're talking about UFOs, but also here are some logical explanations, but, does that really match up? And kind of backing it up that way. And so, while it is a UFO book, if you just love history, it has some great historical context, I think, as well. Like I showed you, lots of great characters. I didn't really go into the stories too much because I want you guys to pick it up and read it for yourself. I do recommend it. A lot of UFO stories are just, I looked up in the sky, I saw something, it was gone. I looked up in the sky, it was silver, it was gone. It's very redundant. And this one was refreshing. And I just appreciated this book. It was really well written, really well put together. I know I have some more John LeMay books, but I definitely am going to, dive into some more of his UFO ones. I also see, there's some cowboys and saurians, which we love dinosaurs, we love the Old West, so why not try to dive into that? So overall, I do give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I always looked forward to reading it, and I never felt like it dragged on. A lot of times with UFO books, I do feel like the sightings can drag on because they're just so similar and it's so brief and almost frustrating. With this one, there's a lot of context, a lot of detail, pictures, diagrams, really good descriptions of the beings or the crafts. Like I showed you with that, dirigible on the spotlight, but there's some more like alien descriptions, drawings, some cryptid drawings. It's just really good. I highly recommend it. Guys, go pick it up. I'll link it in the description below. Yeah, if you want to see more Culz book reviews, click that link to your left. If you want to see more about what we're doing here at Culz Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, if you've read this book, what was your favorite story?